What's more likely?
Never say never, but never.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Chris.
Tom, you good?
I'm great.
TJ, you good?
I'm straight.
Jay Felly, what's up, man?
Chris.
Great to see you.
You too.
Everything good?
Yeah.
Jay Felly celebrated his 40th birthday this week.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dad.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Birthday, yo.
Have you started putting pillows under all your joints to help for chronic pain yet?
For years.
You were an advanced adopter. That's smart.
Yeah.
I'm currently sitting on whatever this thing is that I now have gotten used to because it's a pad.
Wait, is that yours or is that
No,
Rich's?
it was just here.
Oh.
And I didn't really realize it wasn't part of the chair. But now that I've spent 2 days on it, I do feel like my spine is actually out of alignment because of it.
Interesting.
But I also can't, I can't go back to this.
No, you can't go back to normal chair. It's like first class. Guys,
I don't
what's
know which
more
way this
likely?
is.
You know, sometimes you might listen and observe and take in what's more likely, and you might think, those sound a lot like some props you might be able to bet on some places. And I'm here to remind you, no, they're not. And when I asked Tom all of these questions, Tom is not allowed to give gambling advice.
I cannot give gambling advice.
And that is not what this is.
Absolutely not. I cannot give gambling advice.
That is not what this is. So the first one I will give you, Tom Pelissero, more likely to be the current Vegas win total to go over. The Bengals at 9.5 or the Broncos at 9.5.
Well, I will say Sean Payton, I'm sure, likes that it's now 9.5 because he was not thrilled last year when he found out it was 5.5.
Right.
And he knew when I saw him in training camp that was exactly the win total.
That was free money last year.
And his thought on it was basically the next time I win 6 games will be the first. So now I can't give gambling advice.
Of course not, and I wouldn't ask you for any.
Definitely not.
The Bengals were the most dangerous team at the end of last season, but their problem was their defense. And what have they done other than potentially alienate their best player on that side of the football? There are real questions about how they're going to stop anyone.
Yeah.
Now, if T. Higgins can stay healthy, which is always a big if, you have one of the most dynamic combinations of receivers in the NFL. You've obviously got Joe Burrow, who can play at a really, really high level.
Chase Brown is nice.
Chase Brown has played well. We'll see what they do in the draft, too, to potentially augment some of the things that they're doing on that side of the football. But the question to me continues to be about the defense there. With Denver, the main issue with anything when evaluating what Denver's going to do is that division is so tough, and they exceeded expectations. I think that it's close right now, and I can't give gambling advice.
Wouldn't ask for it.
But if you ask me, who do I think is more likely to get to 10 wins first? I'd probably say the Bengals first, but I certainly think the Broncos are going to be right in that range too.
Let's go the other way then, Tom. And again, not asking for you to take a side here, but I'm just saying more likely current Vegas total to go under. Win total to go under. Lions 10.5, Eagles 11.5.
Ooh. Now, I can't give gambling advice.
And I'm not asking for it.
The Lions at 10.5 seems low, right? Like I know they lost Ben Johnson, they lost Aaron
both
Glenn,
coordinators,
and that's a
right?
big piece of the puzzle
Again, always
here.
a question mark with Jared Goff.
The unknown with John Morton coming in as the offensive play caller. You got a first-time defensive play caller. But that Lions team, man, is super talented, and you still have Dan Campbell there who sets the culture. The Eagles at 11.5. I would probably say the Eagles, just based on, it's hard to win 12 games in the NFL. Going 12-5 is difficult. Both those divisions, especially just Washington. We'll see if Washington regresses to the mean. The Eagles had a heck of a run last year. They were the best team in football, obviously. But, to do it again, man, 12 wins is a lot. Now, again, I wouldn't bet. I can't bet. I can't tell you what to bet.
No, please
but
don't.
Betting for 12 wins, I think, is always dangerous.
Entertainment purposes only. Tom, more likely to be the higher number. Let's talk draft now. More likely to be the higher number. Total quarterbacks taken in the first round or wide receiver running backs combined drafted in the first round.
Now, are we considering Travis Hunter a wide receiver?
I think we're throwing Travis Hunter out of any equation here.
Because if he's out, then I would say more quarterbacks taken. Because, and again, I can't give gambling advice.
And I'm not asking for it.
But you're going to have Cam Ward, who in all likelihood is going to go number 1 overall to Tennessee.
Right.
I do think Shedeur, more likely than not, goes in the first. And I think some combination of Milroe, Dart, and maybe even Shuck all end up in the first. With the receivers, and I went through this with a couple of scouts last night, Tet McMillan probably goes in the first. Golden probably goes in the first. Ibuka's right on the border. Historically, you would say you're going to have more wide receivers, but this is just not a strong at the top of the class wide receiver group. So if we're not considering Travis Hunter, if we were calling him a unicorn or a corner, for the sake of argument here, I would without giving it any advice for people who might be using it for untoward purposes, I would say the quarterback.
Do you see 2 running backs?
Oh, we're including the running backs. It's running backs plus receivers.
Wide receiver, running back combined. Ooh. Yeah.
So that became a more complicated question. Ashton Genty's going to go, and I think the other ones are right on the border. I'll still say quarterbacks.
Okay. How about this one? More likely to be the lower number. Draft position of Ashton Genty or Shedeur Sanders?
Now, that's a great question. Because Ashton Genty, and we talked about this with Todd McShay yesterday, Genty is right on the border of the elite players. Like everyone would say, if we say Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, those 2 are elite prospects. If you kind of include others in that group, it would be Genty, it would be Mason Graham probably, it would be the Tyler Warren, the Penn State tight end. Mm-hmm. Shedeur, while he has a chance to be a very good player, is not somebody who I've heard my colleague at NFL Network, Brian Baldinger, say what he has about Ashton Genty, which is that's the guy most likely to put on a gold jacket at the end of his career. So, and I can't give gambling advice. I would say Ashton Genty has if we're saying lower meaning the lower number.
Lower meaning the lower number. Like he goes 6 and Shedeur goes 9. Nice. Then that would be lower for Ashton Genty.
If I had to guess, I'd say Genty goes before Shedeur.
It's a fancy way of saying who gets drafted first.
Yeah, unless the Giants take Shedeur, then obviously that would change things. But if the Giants don't take Shedeur, Genty.
Well, in the spirit of Kyle Shanahan, we could all not be here tomorrow.
We could all be. I don't know if any of us are going to be alive on Sunday.
That is a good point.
That's a good point, TJ. You never know what's going to happen.
Never
Tom, is it more likely that Armand Membu is the first offensive lineman drafted or Matthew Golden is the first wide receiver drafted?
Another good question. And I can't give gambling advice.
And I'm not asking for it.
Matthew Golden, I would say more likely. Membu is an unbelievably talented prospect.
Had a great combine.
There are some questions that people have there. And when you have, despite Will Campbell's tiny little T-Rex arms, he's a very, very safe, clean prospect who I think is probably going to go really high. I would say, even though Tet McMillan's his good tape, his highlight tape is unbelievable.
Unreal.
And there are not dudes who are built like that guy. I would probably say, just because of the speed element that Golden brings, different teams are going to be looking for that. I'd probably say, without giving any gambling advice, Golden, better chance to be the first wide receiver than Membu to be the first offensive lineman.
All right, that's fair. 2 more, and then we'll wrap this up. Tom, more likely to be the lowest total. Day 1 NFL draft trades or Masters winning margin?
Wait, all right. You scrambled my brain on that.
You got to think this out.
The number of strokes by which the winning golfer
read the graphic. So
takes
Justin
the Masters
Rose has a 2-shot lead right now.
Don't tell me to read the graphic.
I'm just saying it's literally right in front of you how it's played out.
I got a lot of monitors here. I'm currently watching Bijan Robinson being interviewed on an empty Augusta National.
You do have 4 monitors in front of you. 4 television screens.
I got a lot of TVs.
So,
lowest total. Day 1 NFL
Day
draft
1 trades because
including player trades.
There have yet to be any. There have been 0 trades involving anything right now.
Day 1 NFL draft trades.
Day 1 NFL draft trades or the Masters winning margin.
We've never had no trades at this point. Now, because of, again, the paucity of those truly elite prospects, that probably lowers the odds of trades of teams trying to go up or teams even willing to move down from that elite 4 to 5 prospect range. But there's always moves as you get later in the draft. There's always teams looking to bail out. There's probably more similarity in the prospects from like 10 to 40 as opposed to 20 to 50 in past years, which just elevates the fact that teams are going to target specific guys who are fits. So I would I can't give gambling advice.
Nope, not asking for it.
NFL trades.
Well, the lower number. So you think.
All right, Masters winning margin is the low.
Right. So, does anyone win by 4 this year?
No, I will say no.
Okay. And are there 4? We'll get 4 trades on Thursday, you think, at least?
I mean, the historical average has to be right around there.
Okay. Last one, and I know you love this. I did this specifically because You said, I think on Wednesday, that you hate questions like this. More likely, Florida quarterback under the most pressure in 2025, Tua or Trevor?
I thought you were going to say Graham Mertz. That was going to be a deep pull.
No, I mean NFL quarterbacks from the state of Florida.
Tua or Trevor?
Not putting Baker, he's sick.
Well, listen, Trevor is going to have more grace because he's in year one with yet another new head coach, yet another new system. Tua is going to have more pressure on it because it's year 4 with Mike McDaniel. And you're thinking you need to take the step forward. They've been in the playoffs.
Year 4 already?
It's year 4. You just played an interview in the break of McDaniel in 2022.
Wow.
Year 4 with McDaniel. You've gone to the playoffs twice. You've not won a playoff game. Injuries have certainly impacted that. The pressure is definitely more on Tua out of the gate. Now, if you told me one game, which of these guys do you want, I'd probably err toward Tua. Just because we've seen the productivity when he's healthy at a more consistent level than we have with Trevor. However, under the most pressure, it's clearly Tua, because if they don't win out of the gate, you're going to start hearing a lot of stuff about, are the Dolphins going to make changes? What should they do? Should they trade people? There's more pressure on the Dolphins' entire operation, and a lot of that inherently falls on the quarterback.
Mike McDaniel hot seat? That's what I heard.
Any coach who's in year 4 and has not won a playoff game is going to have pressure. Remember, they extended him. Steve Ross loves Mike McDaniel.
I know.
He extended him last year, only 2 years into his contract. They anticipate this is going to be the guy. And Mike McDaniel is going to be the guy. And they've invested more in backup quarterback play in this offseason. Zach Wilson, who at least has started a bunch of games. They brought in a guy with a lot of talent who they're hoping. And I wouldn't be shocked if they draft a guy, too. They're going to put more in there. It's not going to be, if Tua misses a game for whatever reason, it's not going to be, well, crap, we got to go sign Snoop Huntley off the practice squad. He's available currently. You can sign him off the street at any time. But I anticipate they're going to have a more clear backup quarterback plan than they had last year when it was Skylar Thompson and Mike White duking it out, and it turned out both guys basically lost. They're going to have more options at that position. That's not to say Tua is in any danger of being benched or anything else. He has played, again, at a really high level. His issue has just been staying on the field. And Mike McDaniel has gotten the most out of Tua, which is why, if we're talking hot seat, any coach in year 4 without a playoff win is going to have pressure. But what Steve Ross's actions have shown you is he really believes in these guys. He paid Tua. He paid Mike McDaniel. He envisions this being the combination for years to come. They start out 2-6 like any other coach. They're going to have pressure on them. But they have been a pretty fast-starting team when they've had their quarterback overall.
Is Tyreek on the Dolphins week 1?
Yes. I think that it would be extremely difficult right now to trade Tyreek because you have another fresh call for a domestic disturbance. There was no signs of anything physical. There's no charges. But to have another thing and for a team to bring Tyreek in right now, I think is hard. And for the Dolphins, they've paid him a lot of money. They know they're better with him. Maybe this all leads to a better personal situation on the other end of it. If certain people are no longer under the same roof, maybe that gets people to be a little bit more dialed in. Listen, they need Tyreek. Tyreek needs to go out and have a good year. Tyreek is at a point now, and they redid his contract last offseason, but Tyreek's at a point where if he has another issue or if he just doesn't play that well, because last year, I mean, go back and look at his numbers. He was dealing with a wrist injury. He did not put up numbers. His best game came 2 hours after he was face down on the cement in handcuffs because of an overzealous South Florida police officer. After that, Tyreek did not put up numbers last season and tapped out the last game of the year. If you're not going to be on your best behavior and put your best foot forward at this point, something's wrong.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.